So the terms competition and rankings are typical, standard even when we're discussing sports. So let's use that narrative to go into this story. The popular American monthly magazine Rolling Stone has updated its list of 200 greatest singers. The usual suspects are there, with Aretha Franklin, the Queen of Soul, holding down the top spot ahead of Whitney Houston. Sam Cooke, Billie Holiday and Mariah Carey complete the top 5. Ray Charles, Stevie Wonder, Beyonce, Otis Redding and Al Green complete the top 10. Jamaican Dennis Brown is the top-ranked Caribbean singer at 67, with Rihanna at 68. Pop legend Michael Jackson comes in at a lowly 86. However, the biggest shock is the omission of 5-time Grammy winner Celine Dion. Dion is one of the world's most accomplished singers, with 7 of her albums selling at least 10 million copies globally. This is what Rolling Stone said in explaining how they arrived at the top 200. In all cases, what mattered most to us was originality, influence, the depth of an artist's catalogue, and the breadth of their musical legacy. A voice can be gorgeous like Mariah Carey's, rugged like Toots Hibbert's, understated like Willie Nelson's, slippery and sumptuous like D'Angelo's, or bracing like Bob Dylan's. But in the end, the singers behind it are here for one reason. They can remake the world just by opening their mouths. Now, George, I'm thinking here that Rolling Stone should just come out and admit that they made an error and it was an oversight not to have Celine Dion in.
That's the first place to start.
Yes.
It was. I saw the article,
yes,
I think last week, about Celine Dion's omission. I was gobsmacked.
Yes.
How could you have...
Shocking.
200?
Yes.
And nowhere near 200 you have a place for Celine Dion? It's
unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Unpalatable.
Yeah, unpalatable as well, because that's why we're talking. That's why that's the first thing we're talking about.
Yes.
I would say though. Well, let me hear you.
No, I'm just saying that Celine is one of my favorites of all time. I like Aretha being number 1, to be honest with you, although I have a great respect for Whitney Houston and Celine Dion. Yeah. I think the Queen of Soul aces it for me. I have no difficulty with that. Significant that the women are ahead of the men in the top 5. But Michael Jackson's 86 also a little startling, I thought.
I think I was poised to be very upset with Rolling Stones. But I see the difficulty inherent in their selections by virtue of their rationale. Mr. Producer, may it please you to give us the rationale once again? And I don't know why Rolling Stones tied themselves in knots. They could have done this a simpler way. I'll suggest that afterwards. So what mattered most in all cases? Originality, influence, depth of catalog, breadth of musical legacy. And then they gave examples, yeah? In the end, though, when all is said and done, the singers behind it are here for one reason. They can remake the world just by opening their mouth. So if you look, just keep the graphic there. Bob Dylan, it would be about originality. It would be also about depth of catalog and breadth of musical legacy. Toots Hibbert, originality, influence, breadth of musical legacy. I'm not quite sure depth of catalog qualifies Toots there. Mariah will qualify for depth of catalog.
And that's Mariah Carey.
Yeah, Mariah Carey. Not Ramarak, right?
Yes.
Willie Nelson would be for originality, would be for influence, would be for depth of catalog and breadth of legacy as well. D'Angelo, less legacy, less catalog, and more for originality. So just go with those. But here's the thing. I think this list, Lance, would sit better with some if Rolling Stones had said our list of the greatest vocalists, because you and I have had this conversation several times, long before Rolling Stones published this list, about singers who we rate as pure vocalists. But as singers who we're talking about legacy and originality and everything, they can be set aside. So I think if they said the 200 greatest vocalists, they could get away with a lot more. But even so, even if they put it at vocalists, the omission of Celine Dion would be even more injurious, because you're telling me that there are 200 vocalists in the world, so much better, as the Bajans would say, so much better than Celine Dion. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I can't believe it actually. That was stunning for me, because I actually feel that Celine Dion is among the top 10 of all time in women.
Yes.
Alone.
Yes.
So I don't buy that. But music is subjective, and what I like may not be what you like. And you know, it goes through like that. I see we haven't mentioned it, but Bob Marley, of course, is in there as well as a pioneer. And I think I would agree that when he opens his mouth, the world listens.
Yeah.
That applies to Bob Marley.
The thing is this, though. I've never thought of Bob when I'm thinking about the vocalists I love.
Yeah.
And then, of course, someone would say, well, he's so much more than that. And they'd be very right.
That's right.
Yeah? But vocally...
Luciano is on that list, I
But
think.
of course, Lance, the Rolling Stones cited some of Luciano's songs.
Yes.
Jah Give Me Strength to Face Another Day is...
We're not talking about Luciano Pavarotti, by the way.
No.
We're talking about
Luciano, the Jamaican.
McClymont.
Yeah, Jefta McClymont.
McClymont.
Yes. Luciano's, and they cited some tracks. Lord, give me strength to face another day. It's Me Again, Jah. It's Me Again, Jah could be repurposed as a prayer. It should be written in hymnals in churches all over the world or in religious
That's
settings.
actually my favorite Luciano
Oh, my goodness.
song of all time.
Yeah?
It was produced in about 93 or 94.
Yes, Fatis Borel.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Exterminator.
brilliant
The-
tune
those-
there.
so I'm saying, so yeah, Dennis Brown's selection. I've always heard people who know the music tall. And you know that I know a few people and are good friends with some people who know the music tall.
Yeah.
They have a respect for Dennis Brown that is, it borders on fanatical. Some of his peers, if you talk about Freddie McGregor, who was recovering from a serious illness, people like those, they rate this man very much higher than most Jamaicans would do off the cuff.
Yes.
And when you hear a man like, there was a famous interview, a popular interview that the late, great John Holt did with the late Ian Boyne, where he said that he taught Dennis Brown how to sing. Now, there are a couple of things with that. You have to be an artist of immense stature to say that you taught Dennis Brown how to sing. And then you have to be an artist and a person of immense stature for nobody to rise in rebuttal at you saying that. And the third thing, you have to be someone, Dennis Brown would have had to be someone who you find it worthy to tell people that he was so good and I helped him to be so good.
Yeah.
So Dennis Brown's place there, people say Dennis Brown can sing better than Bob Marley. Yeah. In my opinion, as a pure vocalist, yes.
Of course.
Yes.
I don't think many people would dispute that.
Yes, but Bob was so much more.
Yes.
But vocal. So that's why, lads, I'm saying Rolling Stone should have called this the 200 best vocalists. More people would have been sympathetic to the choices.
Yeah.
But still, add Celine Dion, everything all right.
Yeah, I think apart from Freddie McGregor and John Holt, I think Barrington Levy also holds Dennis Brown in very, very,
he's on the list,
very high regard.
Is there another singer? Well, Akon has a sound that's unique. We talk about originality.
Yes.
Barrington Levy has a sound that you could try until you die.
Yes.
You can't remake, you can't recreate that. I can't do it. I can't sing. You can sing, I can't do it. Barrington Levy is unique.
Yes.
Has to be the
I was
200
listening
best
to
singers.
Voice of Barbados, Starcom Radio this morning. Ronnie Clark was on, a popular announcer in Barbados, also a Calypsonian. And he played Bob Marley, he played Luciano, and after that, getting the story later in the day, I wondered if that story triggered him playing some of those songs. Because he's a student of music, and he was talking about some of Bob Marley's greatest songs and so on. But great to see Rihanna in there as well, because her colossal rise as an all-time great artist in the past 2 decades, decade and a half, is phenomenal.
Yes.
You know, because she's coming from an island that is pretty small, 290,000 population, and she's someone that Barbados has to be proud of.
Sonically, Rihanna is unique.
Yes.
And sonically, she's one of the best people I've ever heard, as confirmed by this list, so she deserves her place. But Aretha Franklin as number one,
I don't have a difficulty
I thought
with that,
long
George.
and hard about it, and I'm saying, on what grounds would I proceed to say Aretha Franklin is not number one? I haven't found it yet.
Yes. And there's a reason why you haven't found it, George.
Well, there must be a reason.
Yeah. She was special.
The
Queen of Soul.
Is Patti LaBelle on the list?
I can't remember.
Mr. Producer,
I didn't see the.
is Patti LaBelle in the 200?
Entire list. No.
The producer will tell us. He says he
doesn't recall seeing her.
That's Lance.
Yes.
See, that,
Unique voice.
I'm having.
Patti LaBelle's voice is distinct and special.
Yeah.
Yeah, special.
I'm not a Bob Dylan
Well,
fan.
to be honest with you, if Celine Dion isn't on the list,
Yes.
then I can understand Patti LaBelle not being on the list.
I'm not a Bob Dylan fan, I must say.
Neither am I.
I'm not a
Neither Willie Nelson.
I love Willie for 2 songs.
Always on my mind.
Yes, and the duet with Julio Iglesias.
Yes.
To all the girls I've loved before.
Yeah, I don't like Willie Nelson.
Traveling in and out my door.
George,
I'm glad they came along.
I can do
I
without
dedicate
Willie
this song
I can
to
do
all
without
the
Willie
girls
Nelson.
I've loved before. We're breaking with Celine Dion.
Every night in my dreams, I see